Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Demetra Kaye Show, where we have the recovering Democrat, also known as the Black Yule Brenner, Donovan Sadiq. And we have a special guest here with us, Tamara Johnson-Shealey. Of course, she was here. She's been here with us a few times, but from time to time, she's going to come and give us an update on her fight for reparations for the state of Georgia and ultimately all descendants of slavery in the United States of America. Of course, you guys know that she also ran for the Senate in Georgia. And I don't know if she's going to do it again. I'll let her tell us that. But she's going to give us an update. So before I play a little clip of what she's been up to, how are you, Tamara?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing well, holding it together out here trying to fight the good fight of reparations.
All right, Donovan, what say you? How you doing?
Same as always, I'm just riding shotgun as usual.
All right, great. So for the sake of time, let's get into it. So I'm going to show y'all about a less than 3-minute clip of what she's been up to, and then we're going to get the official update from her. So here we go.
Is a push in our state for a commission to study the impact of slavery and Jim Crow on Georgians who are descendants of the enslaved.
Advocates came together today to discuss a pathway for reparations at Liberty Plaza just across from the state capitol. They say it's not a new discussion or it's not new rather on the local or national front. Today's news conference, though, comes as several House bills are already in the legislature. Tamara Johnson-Shealey, a leader in reparations advocacy, says House Bill 367 is currently in its third legislative cycle. This current push is part of a movement called the Reparations Sunday Initiative.
The Reparations Sunday is where we're ushering in our churches and bodies of believers around this fight for our repair. That started with slavery and Jim Crow and black codes and convict leasing and no New Deal and no GI Bill, redline, war on drugs, mass incarceration. The reparations, specifically in this nation, is for those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery, those of us who can trace our ancestry back to slavery in this country. And reparations is everything that it takes, like Mr. Bartell stated, to repair our communities, to repair our people. And this is generational work. This is not something we can do today and it's done. No, this is generations of work to repair the 246 years of damage. So there's a lot of work ahead of us. And reparations is compensation. You owe us, America, for 246 years of free labor, where our people were never able to accumulate generational wealth. Yeah. The reason why our communities look like this, because every generation starts over. We never had a foundation. And the foundation we tried to build coming out of slavery during that brief period of Reconstruction was taken from us. So America has to repair us and pay the debt that it owes us as a people. So it's everything, to answer your question, that it takes to repair Black America, and that includes cutting the check.
All right, so that was just a little snippet. So go ahead and fill us in on what's been going on since then.
Well, thank you again, Demetra and Donovan, for having me. We've just been trying to, organize, because that's what it's going to take. Everybody's stomping right now, boots on the ground. But these boots on the ground needs to be around advocacy. Many people are sitting back saying they're checking out with this administration, but this is not the time to check out. This is the time to check in. This is the time for us to organize. This is the time for us to stand united, specifically in this fight for reparations. When this new administration is finished doing whatever they're doing, because we're clear they're going to destroy what we know, what we knew. All of this stuff is, many of these systems are coming down. They're going to be rebuilt. And when they are, we need to have a voice. We need to have a seat at the table. We need to have a place in this whole process. So now is our time to really be clear about reparations. Reparations is all encompassing. We don't go to the table asking for this or that. It's this and that. It's all of it. It's everything that it requires to repair us as a people. So this is our time to organize, let the chips fall where they may around the country. I get it. And Black people, I get it. We got to have an outlet. I get it. It looks good. I like to see the fans. I like to see the boots. I like to see us coming together, having a good time. But on the other side of that, we got to be real clear about what we want for our future. So reparations is still on the table across this country. You have California out there doing some amazing work on the backs of, they had their study commission, and now they're pushing their policy initiatives. They're doing some amazing work. There's other states around the country, but specifically here in Georgia, this is my stomping ground. All of us are clear about this federal fight. We understand that reparations is a debt that is owed by this nation, period. So that's a fight that we have to take to Washington. And we're collectively going to do that, are doing that. We're doing our part. But, right now we're focusing on these states, and these states, specifically here in Georgia, we've had this reparations bill introduced. This is the third legislative cycle. I co-wrote it. So it does need a little bit of tweaking, but guess what? We have something that we can stand on, and we have to keep pushing it. So this is an opportunity. This session is the first time we got press. Man, that felt amazing, Demetra and Donovan, for us to be heard beyond our own platforms. Like, we're having these conversations, you're having these conversations, but to let the world see that, specifically here in Georgia, see that this is big. Yeah, this is big. So, and that was the 39th day of Georgia's 40-day legislative cycle. So for us to have gotten press coverage that close to sine die, is what we call our 40th day. For us to have gotten press that close, this is a golden opportunity for us. So I am just ready to rock and roll. Y'all know how I like to get out around these, in these rural areas. I'm a country girl. So going into these backwoods, I'm no stranger to it. So I want to get out and I want to move around. But when I move around, I have to have resources to move around. I have a GoFundMe, and I'm asking for those that will please support. I need a little RV, y'all. I'm telling y'all, some of these places, I just need to go in and get out. I don't need to stay. I don't need to be seen. I just need to go in and get out, and I need to be safe. So, I'm just hopeful that this GoFundMe, we can really help to push it, and we can get the resources we need to get this piece of legislation passed in Georgia. And then again, ultimately, we're all collectively working. Let's continue to do this work and push those in Washington.
And I'm going to pin the GoFundMe link in the description box and the comment section for those of y'all watching and you want to help our dear sister here in the fight for reparations. As she said, it does take some resources to go in the highways and the byways and where people don't always go, right? Those people often are overlooked, and they don't get the messages that's from us, and for us. So if y'all could please do that, love and appreciate you. Donovan?
Yeah, I'm glad you're staying. A lot of people, once the election cycle is over, they disappear. They are so passionate during the election, and then the election's over, and then it's like, what happened to the passion? It shouldn't matter if you get elected or if you don't get elected. But I'm glad you're staying in the fight. But here's my thing. It's kind of funny that we're talking about this, because on my Facebook page the other day, I posted a picture of my great-grandmother and my great-great-grandmother, right? Which means that for me, slavery goes back 3 to 4 generations. I mean, so it's very recent. It isn't too far away for me. But, of course, our society and our propaganda media makes it seem like slavery was 300, 400 years ago. You'll never figure it out. And so one of my questions, 2 questions I got for you is, as you guys are doing the groundwork and setting things up, I'm trying to tell Black people, we need to research if you are a descendant of a slave now and get that information, so that when the bill does come, you already got your stuff in order. It's already ready to go, right? So, that's one thing as what we need to do to help you get our affairs in order, so that it'll be easier when the check comes. It's undisputed. And another question I have is this, and it's a question and a statement at the same time. Why is it that we think that the only people we can go to get reparations is the Democratic Party? Donald Trump right now, and you know, and I understand people have this Trump syndrome, and we're raised Democrats and we're under Stockholm syndrome and all that stuff. We're in love with our oppressors and all that other stuff. But at the same time, if there is enough of the Black reparations people and those of us that support reparations that have a delegation, why can't we go to the Trump administration and make a deal? Why can't we do that?
You preaching, Donovan, you preaching. So I'm gonna answer your question about the research. Absolutely. We need to absolutely be prepared. Every day we should be looking into our lineage, connecting the dots, knowing our ancestry. Absolutely. This is preparation time. Don't wait till this thing happens and like you're scrambling trying to figure it out. You're gonna be left in the back, because those of us who've been doing this work, we're gonna be at the front of the line. So you better not sit on the sidelines and not do your research and not be prepared. You're gonna be left out. So that's my point to that. But when it comes to these Republicans, let me tell you, there's a MAGA Republican that's written an article, and I'll be sure to share it with you, called "Why Democrats Are Afraid of Reparations and Why Republicans Must Lead the Charge." It's masterfully written, and it is bridging the gap and is using our reparations talking points with the MAGA talking points, bringing them together and showing how financially sound this policy is and why this is the right thing to do. Such a great, amazing piece. And I'll have to make sure that I get him. I'm sure he would love to have an interview with you guys, and y'all can hear it directly from him. His name is Mr. Kevin Grindley, and I'll send you his information, Demetra and Donovan, so y'all can definitely have him on. Reparations is, trust me, on the Republican agenda. We just got to gather the troops. So I'm definitely going to make sure that you guys get in contact with him.
And what has been the feedback from your press, being on the news and all of that? Have you gotten any? Well, I guess what's the feedback on both sides? Because I'm sure some people are like, "What? Why we got to pay reparations?" What has that been like?
So yeah, of course, in the comments on the news, yeah, they're kind of coming from me there. So if y'all want to chime in, please do. Anybody, reparations family, y'all can have them. The people that are pushing back on me in that news article, it's on YouTube. But it's encouraging. I think the legislators, I think they're most surprised, honestly, because going back to Donovan, the Democrats have been, now that this election is over, they honestly don't know what to do. And I think that's all across the country. They're a little lost. And for those of us that know what to do, we're picking this ball up and running this thing down the court. We're clear about, we got to continue to do this. We got to continue to do this work while they're over there licking their wounds and stoking fear. And that's the part that really bothers me, is like, you want people to be afraid of this administration. We're not scared. Look, we ain't never scared. Let's go in. Let's reach across the aisle. Let's have hard conversations. We still want to do the work, but many of the Democrats, again, I think these legislators they were surprised, I think, to see that this actually got some news coverage, and they weren't, they didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I mean, and I would think that would probably be the natural response from, and we know who they are. We ain't even got to say who it is, but the natural response. But but I think what's more important is, to continue talking about it, because believe it or not, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, the opposition, we'll call them that. A lot of times when you explain it to them, they're like, "Oh, why didn't you?" Now that you say it, you put it that way. Because from what they're taught is, oh yeah, they just trying to get a handout. They just trying to get a freebie. But when you actually break it down to them, and those that are listening, they're like, oh, you're right. I didn't think of it that way. Especially when you say, well, hey, your family, they getting the residuals from, being a slave master and owning those plantations. Y'all still eating greedy off of that. So what about us? So it's really just, keep talking and educating.
And let me add to that real quick. Let me cut you off. Let me add to that real quick. And it's another question. It seems to me, especially here in California, we've got these Democrats that use the reparations bill as a political football. Basically, it's something to get everybody ginned up, but they're not delivering anything. They're in Georgia, a lot of Black people in Georgia, right? A lot of Black people in Georgia. You would think and again, I'm in California, where it's a California Democratic state, and we can't pass reparations. So my question to you there in Georgia, which you guys are kind of similar, you have I believe your assembly is controlled by Democrats, correct?
You mean, do we have a majority here?
Yeah, majority.
No.
Okay, you don't have a majority. Okay, but
No, this is
but
a
you have a
red state.
significant,
Not.
right? But you have a significant amount of Democratic representatives, and my thing is, why aren't these Democratic representatives getting behind the reparations push there in Georgia? You've got a lot of black people there, more than California. We don't have a voice here.
Sadly, when I say this, and I try to be respectful when I say it, that when those of you that went north and went west and y'all left the Negroes here in the South, you got to remember who you left here, right? What did Harriet say about them being, if only they knew they were slaves, right? They're scared. There's still a whole lot of fear that lives here in the South. A whole lot of fear. That's why I'm so encouraged. Like Atlanta ain't Georgia. That's what we say. Atlanta is its own world. It is not Georgia. When you get outside the metro Atlanta area, you're in Georgia. So when you all come here, and people that migrate here and come to Atlanta and come to Georgia, it's like, it really, honestly, it's very refreshing, because it kind of forces people to think different, see different, and be different. So we need this energy that comes from those of you that will come back to the South and engage with us and help us here, because again, going back to your question, John, there's just a lot of fear, even in our legislative body. There's just a lot of fear.
And I will say this too. I'm a Southern California girl, born in Northern California, but I am in Houston now. And so I definitely can attest to what you're saying, and no shade to nobody in the South. My mom was born in the South, so Valdosta, Georgia, to be exact. But being from the West Coast and now in the South, I'm like, y'all put up with that? It's just like, it's mind blowing to me how some of us move in the South. It's like, y'all, it's just, I don't know, it's almost like it's left in time. And often people say to me, oh, you should run for office. It's like, nah, I ain't gonna be there long. Y'all ain't gonna have me there long. I'll come up missing or something. Cause you know what I mean? And so I'm learning being here that, yeah, it's an educational process with some of our people. And again, I'm not trying to slight, and everybody in the South ain't, asleep. I don't want to make it that, but we just got to, continue to teach and wake our people up, because a lot of people here just don't know what they don't know.
They don't know. You're right. They don't know what they don't know. And that fear still lives. And they don't even understand that it's fear. They just say it's normal. This is how it is. So it's normal behavior. And again, this bill should get a lot of traction. I'm excited about it, because I think that now is the time with this whole DEI stuff. Now is the time to really be clear about who and where these policies need to point, and who they need to support. So I think now is our time. Again, let this government do what it's doing. I know Black people, again, y'all need a break, but come back, please come back, start focusing on our communities, on our plight and what we want to see for our future in this country. Because now is the time for us to be a part of this, whatever this new thing is. We will have a voice in that. And that's very encouraging. And reparations has to be front and center.
And my last question is this for you guys. You have different reparations moving in different states. So like I said, if Georgia gets it, that sends a template for California, and so on and so forth. So everybody can jump off of what everybody's doing, right? I tell people all the time, California already wrote the reparations blueprint, passed all committees and everything. All Gavin Newsom had to do was sign it after a vote, if it passed the voting thing. But it went through all the committees. It's the blueprint. But if you guys get it, great, whatever the deal is. But I look at institutions like Black Lives Matter and all these institutions that started up around the world, grassroots. They just started up and then they went left or wherever they went. And Georgia is one thing, but speaking of the reparations bill, are you guys reaching out to individual states and kind of forming a bigger union. You do see what I'm saying? You're individual, but you're also like California, you got Texas, you got Wisconsin, you got the different groups like Black Lives Matter did from their grassroots. Are you guys doing that too? Because that, again, you can take a small twig, it's easy to break, but if you take a bundle of twigs, it's a little harder to break. So are you guys doing the same thing in what you're doing and sharing some of the same ideas to get the ball rolling across the nation?
Yes, but it's loosely though, because it's so much work in your own state. Like, we're all connected. We pretty much all know each other, and if we don't, we're connected by somebody. So we're doing as much as we can collaboratively. And again, the heavy lift right now is in our prospective states, but ultimately we're going to come together, and that's where we ride up to Washington and we start knocking on those legislators' doors as a collective of states all across the country who initiated some form of commission to study this and gotten policies passed. Like, we're at some point, this is all going to come together. But right now, where we are is just, again, doing the heavy lifting in our prospective states. And I'm a part of a collaborative. It's called the Community Collaborative for Transformation. And it's a group where people are coming together to focus on cities and the needs that they have. So I'm connecting and collaborating and working with whoever is willing to hear and stand next to us in this fight for reparations. So we just, again, now is our time. Now is our time. I'm looking at 2025 as like, this is our year, y'all. This is our year.
You know what? I totally agree with you. 2025 is, I think, the year of awakening, especially for our people, because there's a lot of things that we just, well, some of us knew, but overall we didn't see and didn't know that we needed to see. But I agree with you too, as far as the boots on the ground, they're popping the fans and whatever else you popping. That's cool, right? But we need real boots on the ground to get some tangible, some substance to our people. And of course, that's a check, because as they say, don't nothing move without the money, right? Or but the money. So we need the money to make other things move and to close that wealth gap. So in closing, you have anything else to say? And also, you guys, yes, I'm going to put the GoFundMe link in the description box. So please, you guys, do what you can to help Tamara go about the South there and wake our people up.
Oh, yes. I just want to say thank you all for having me. And yeah, this is, again, Black America, this is our time. Those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery, I say this is the healing that this nation needs. This is the balm. This is the healing that this nation needs. And we need to have conversations. And Reparations Sunday is an initiative where we actually, we're engaging these churches and believers. If you believe in God, then you have to believe in reparations for the descendants of chattel slavery. So I'm navigating these churches. I'm navigating these Christians and Muslims and any believers. If you believe in a higher being, then you should surely believe again in reparations. So I believe this is the healing, and I believe reparations will make America great. And that's been my slogan. Since Trump has gotten in office, reparations will make America great. So this is where we come together. And again, I navigate MAGA, and I've never had a problem. Again, there's an article that I'm gonna make sure I share with you all. And yeah, this fight is happening. And honestly, I think the fight is already fixed. It's already won. We just need to continue to do this work. We just need to continue to knock on those doors, and it's gonna manifest. And I believe we're gonna live to see it. Amen.
Amen. All right. So come back and see us again with another update. You're always welcome. Just let us know and we'll make it happen. Again, you guys, I'm going to post everything in the description box in regards to the GoFundMe. And Tamara is going to keep us updated in the future. So in the meantime, you guys, we will see y'all at 5 p.m. Central Time for our live conversation. Peace.